So this is Danny Flexon here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by former world cruiserweight champion and expert pundit, of course, later on in life, Glenn McCrory. How are you?
I'm very good, Danny. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Not in the shape you are, I don't think, considering what you're planning to do later this year. A fight has emerged between yourself and the legendary, I think it's fair to say, Roy Jones Jr. We've seen him come back into action later on in life, most recently against Mike Tyson, of course. What are you crazy? I guess is the question. Not because it's Roy Jones, but why do you want to put yourself through this at this stage in life?
Danny, you've known me long enough to answer that question yourself.
Yes,
Uh,
yes, you are.
do you know what? I think in life, especially in these circumstances, we kind of need to find a challenge, don't we? We kind of need to find something to bring us out of this. And to be honest, that's what the promise of a fight with Roy Jones has done for me. It's woke me up. It's given me something to aim for. Because it's so tough at the moment. For everybody. We're sitting in our libraries, and it's tough. It's tough. It's tough just to get out of bed. It's tough to think about what you're going to do tomorrow. To think about is there any future. We go back to the golden days. When we were sitting ringside at great fights. And all of that's gone. So for me to share the ring with Roy Jones would just be take me back a little bit.
And when's it projected to take place? And have you started to train and to prepare already?
I have started to do some training. I've started to test the waters. It's been a long time because I've stayed purposely out of the ring. I've kept away from bags and all the rest of it for the last 27 years because I didn't want to make a comeback, and I knew that it would draw me back because I love boxing. So I have been in the gym. Me and my son's been doing a little bit, and it's felt wonderful. It's felt absolutely wonderful because for the last 27 years, I have purposely kept away from that.
Yeah, it must be great to. I know you said you avoided it before because you didn't want to get that temptation to come back. But at this stage, knowing it's probably a one-off, or if it's not a one-off, it will be against guys your own age, and it's a bit of fun as well. That must be great to get that motivation back.
You know what's great, Danny, is I hated this business. I hated boxing because as a youngster, I was so badly abused and ripped off and made no money and had a terrible career. Even though I was a world champion, it was awful. So I kept away from it for that very reason. So to come back to it is like falling in love again, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful to get back into the gym for yourself because it's been so long. It's been so long, and yeah, it's good. In this life, we're alive till we are dead. We're alive, so you got to try and make the most of it. Sonata is still great at 70 and 80, and you'd want to see him. And I want to see Roy Jones. I want to see Roy Jones in front of me to see how great he really was.
Well, don't spend too long kind of appreciating the moment. He'll be in front of you trying to take your head off. So you might need to move and counter a little bit. You said you loved it being back in the gym, but the very first time you went back in, or the very first run you went on, or the first time you did pads again, how did you feel in terms of kind of sharpness? Did it all just come clicking back, or was it a bit more of a struggle?
Do you know what, Danny? It was obviously breathing, the heart and lungs and the fitness and all the rest of it because I'm 56. But you know what? Christmas is still Christmas if you're a 7-year-old or if you're a 70-year-old. There's something magical about that. And when you love something and you love being in the ring and you love fighting. For me, I used to go to bed and I couldn't get to sleep when I was 12-year-old because I was thinking about what I'm going to do, how I'm going to throw the jab, how I'm going to do this. And a few nights ago, that was exactly the same. That was exactly the same, Danny. I think I might have lost you there for a second.
I've got you. You're all right.
Going back, that was exactly the same. It was wonderful. It was wonderful to think about boxing and think about what it was like as a kid, and so it was. It's exciting. It's exciting. It's exciting to think. You know what? I'm scared again. I'm scared again. I've got that. I've got those butterflies, and that's wonderful. That's wonderful. At 56, that's wonderful because you know what? I'm still alive.
And how did it turn out that it was Roy Jones Jr.? Like, were you already thinking about doing something like this, or did it come out of the blue and he approached you?
Absolutely not. I have never hit a bag in 27 years for the very reason that I knew that if I hit a bag or I start shadowboxing, I'd want to fight again. So I've kept away from it. I've trained other fighters. I've helped other kids, but I've never wanted to do it myself for that very reason. And then for BT Boxing, I did I did the show of Tyson Jones, and I was the same as you. I was looking at it thinking, are these two idiots? Are they mad? Are they I was with Mike Tyson in his heyday.
Yeah.
And I commentated on Roy Jones's whole career. I've been around this game for as long as you've been alive, I think, Danny. So it's been a long time. So it was great to see what they were going to do. And you know what? I was really impressed what they did. And then I spoke to Evander Holyfield, and that's, it's not like I ring Evander up every other day, but I wanted to see, I know Evander, and I wanted to see what he thought of it. And he said, call me out, Glenn. I was like, what? Okay. And it was a joke. It was just a joke. And then that transpired, to get press and publicity. And then I started to think, you know what? This is good entertainment. This is good. You know what I mean? It's I want to see Joe Calzaghe back in the ring. I want to see if he can still come, if he can still be the great Welsh wizard that he once was. I want to, it's entertainment. So, and then Roy Jones on Christmas Eve on the internet called me out, which was absolutely bizarre but amazing. And Roy Jones Jr., 5-weight world champion. I commentated when he won most of them fights, and it just felt good. And I thought, why not? Why not? Why the hell not? You know what? And the thing is, then, with a little bit of seriousness here, I never reached my potential. I never became the fighter that I thought I could have been. I was retired at 25. People didn't see my career. I was world champion at 25. I lost 5 out of 6 fights as a heavyweight. I was probably the most mismanaged, abused fighter ever in British history. And yet I still won a world title. And I wanted, for me, getting out of the game at 25, I wanted to know how good I was, how good I could have been. I wanted to know, and I still do. And I've tortured myself, and I've had a lot of problems in my life, wondering about that and other things that's happened in my life with the loss of my brother, as to how good I could have really been. And if I come back after 27 years, never lacing the glove on, knock Roy Jones out, I think people might say, how good could Glenn McCrory have really been?
Yeah, no, I agree. Do you know roughly when it's going to take place and where? Because obviously we're Corona dependent at the moment.
Well, I mean that is what holds all our lives back at the minute. But let's hope we can get some. Let's hope we can get some good out of this. Let's hope we can get some, because the whole coronavirus thing has been such a dire thing, and I have struggled desperately. I have really been to the depths. So I'm hoping that we get out of this, and they're looking at May. We've got Tough Boxing, which are a new outfit, which I'm really happy to be associated with. Simon Whittle, great guy. So I'm hoping they can put this on. They promised. They brought Roy Jones. Roy Jones has called me out. I have answered the question. And you know what? Can I ask you a question? As a boxing man, do you want to see this? Do you want to see old Glenn get back in the ring after 27 years?
I think after the Jones Tyson one, I'd quite enjoy it. Yeah, I mean, I was skeptical before that one.
So was I.
But I think as long as it's not taken, I mean, obviously you're going to take it very seriously, and Roy is, otherwise there's no point doing it. But I think as long as we, as a boxing community, don't take it too seriously alongside the current fighters, and it's kind of a thing on its own, I think it's quite fun.
Listen,
yeah.
I phoned Usyk up the other day. I said, listen, don't you worry.
Yeah.
You ain't got nothing to worry about, mate. I'm retired. So Lawrence Okoli, I said, Lawrence, son, don't worry. The old man's staying in retirement. So, no, but, you know, as an entertainment, something in entertainment, it's fun. It's fun, you know, and you know, people say about, oh, you get hurt, or it's like, we get hurt. I climbed the 8th highest mountain in the world last year. It's like, get hurt? No, I'm a Stanley lad. They don't hurt us.
That's good stuff. And you said you've been doing some training with your son. That must be quite cool for you, because he never got to see you fight in your heyday because you were so young when you hit your peak. And now he gets to see you training for a big fight.
Danny, I never hit my peak.
Yeah.
I never hit my peak. I'm hitting my peak soon. You be there in May in Newcastle, and you will see Glenn McCrory hit his peak.
I'll bear that in mind. But it must be fun that you get to do this alongside your son this time around.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. I've got a little boy, Aiden, who's 6, and I've got my big boys, 30, Joe. Neither one of them have seen me fight. All they see is pictures of me and videos of me and all the rest of it. So to share the ring and for my son to be in the corner would be an amazing thing. You know, he's a great boy, and he missed out on that. You know, so he gets a chance to step back in time as I will.
That's brilliant. So what will you be doing between now and then? Is it just kind of training, getting your diet kind of back to a fighter's diet? That must be pretty tough after 27 years.
No, you know, I'm very much I've very much always been on a good diet. I'm believe it or not, as you know me so well, you know, I do keep myself healthy. I do like to stay on a good diet. So it's really about, you know, Danny, when I went back in the gym after 27 years, the fact that I have never, you know, I retired 25, came back just to fight Lennox to pay the tax man. So, because I was ripped off. So when I let off, when I finished, I hadn't gotten to my best. I hadn't become the best I could be. So I didn't get those years getting beat up and all. So I don't know any of that. I don't know what it's like to be beaten up and all the rest. I was at my prime. So when I went in the gym and I started shadowboxing again for the first time in 27 years, for the first time, it was like I was reborn. I was 27 again. And the breathing isn't the same. You know, I've got to get fit. So it's all about condition. But I guarantee you will see the Glenn McCrory and he was at 27.
That's a big claim, Glenn. That's a big statement. But I hope we do. Roy Jones Jr.
You
stand a chance.
You will. I might be puffing and blowing a little bit more, but as you know, I was there with Mike Tyson when he was 21, 22. I was there in this heyday. You know, this is my memory. This is my boxing memory as me as a fighter. And he was brilliant. And you know what? To see him 30 years later, he was still scary. He was still scary. He still you still got that feeling just the same. And likewise, I want to bring that back the same. You're going to see the best left jab in the business.
Good stuff. And what about beyond that? You know, is there going to be more fights, do you think, if you enjoy it?
No. You know, it's not a comeback. It's not about that. It's about getting out of this pandemic. It's about a bit of entertainment. It's about making people smile and making people laugh, and it's about inspiring people to get up and get out and do something. That's what it's about. It's not a comeback, but it's also about for me, what I've always wanted to do and what tough boxing I can do with them is to put the Northeast on the map, because we're going to bring Roy Jones and me to the Northeast. We're going to bring the 5-weight world champion, going to fight Glenn McCrory in the Northeast of England. And what I've always wanted is to put Northeast boxing on the map, you know, not with other promoters, with a team up here. And that's what I think this is. Hopefully for me, this is what it's about. We're going to attract attention because we got some of the best amateurs in the world in the Northeast of England, but it never transpires the same as I didn't. You know, I'm only Newcastle world champion ever in the history of boxing. So what we want to do is bring it back. You know, that's for me what I want to, you know, my son as a trainer and me as a trainer manager, I want to bring boxing once and for all, and that it stays here, and that it's got a foothold here. And that you are going to come up. One of the great boxing writers are going to come up here, and are going to be sitting ringside with your old pal and talking about Northeast fights and the great Northeast fights.
And talking about sitting ringside, I have to ask you: you'll be in the ring with Roy Jones Jr. Who, in an ideal world, do you want to commentate on it?
Do you know what? I've never thought about that. I've never actually thought about it. I think it's got to be Ian Dark. Probably Ian Dark and Jim Watt. Take me back to the old days. Take me back to the old days. Yeah.
Jim might get the buzz back if he commentates on it.
Jim, you know what? Great commentators, great guys. That was a great time in my life. And if we could bring it back for one more day, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I think so too. Brilliant. Glenn, it's been great to catch up with you. Hopefully we can do it again before the fight, because I'd like to see how you're getting on.
100%. Well, I'm going to invite you up to the gym in Stanley, 300 yards from where I won the world title. It's still there. We're still in Stanley, so come up and see me.
100%. Will do. Love it. Cheers,
good man. God bless.
Take care, mate. And you.
Cheers, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Take care, mate. God bless.